It's Monday morning, and I wanted to give you kind of a verbal update to accompany the posts that I've made. Some of the posts that I'm going over, I can't remember if they all relate to the group that everybody's in, or they might only, some of them might pertain just to certain groups, but most of them are in all of the groups. So most of what I'm about to cover relates to all of you. And as I go through them, I should be able to say if this one does or does not reference you. But most of what I'm going to cover does. So I made a lot of posts today, and I want to go over some of these things. One of them I said, you might have seen a post similar to this in your group. I said, when you see me send a long email to my list, like a really long email, like today's email that I shared with you to send to your pre-enrollees, those of you who have pre-enrollees, it's a really long email about the coronavirus's impact on jobs and businesses and that creating insecurity and how they need to be proactive and how the business opportunity sector online actually thrives in that environment, and it gives them tremendous freedom and security, and they want to start looking in that direction if they want to create that for themselves. It's a long email, and it's one of many I may write and share with you and that I've also sent to my list on that topic. And I may create a webinar and so forth. It just depends how long this goes on, this coronavirus and the impact on the economy. It may start to transition into a bigger conversation about a recession that's being impacted by lots of other things. And it's a pretty comprehensive thing. So before I start investing a lot of time into it, I want to square up a lot of stuff that we're working on. But that's a direction that I may move in. And we may even create an entire marketing funnel around. Whether I don't know if you know this or not, but we're going to have lots of different marketing funnels for different angles and different audiences to lead them in, depending on where they're at. For example, if somebody right now has a lot of job insecurity, it might be the first time they really become open to an opportunity online, but they don't really understand the language of network marketing or building an organization. And the funnel that we have right now is really targeted to people who know network marketing, which is what we did by design. But we will be branching out in the business opportunity sector even long before we design our funnels for the consumer market, which I've always said is like 18 to 36 months from now, where we go after the consumer market, the product market mostly. Between now and then, we're building this huge, network. And that's what I keep meaning by you guys being at the top of all this. We're building this huge network of business opportunity seekers. But right now, we focused on those that understand the network marketing language. We're going to create other marketing funnels that speak to people who may not. For example, those, as I was saying, that have job insecurity or their small businesses are taking a major hit from this coronavirus situation. And there's other factors at play as well that's been pushing towards a recession for a long time. So we're probably going to create a funnel that speaks directly to that and to people that really may not even know what the network marketing model is, so there'll be more education there. We're going to keep expanding and helping you guys create lots of funnels and inroads to test with and play with. Anyway, when you see me create a long email, I made a post about this today, like the one that speaks to those insecure with their job or with their small business because of the coronavirus stuff going on. It's a pretty long email, as you'll see in that email swipe file document. Uh, as I was saying here, when I send emails like that to my list, and when you send long emails to your list, it's not expected that everyone's going to read that email. That's not what it's about. It's attracting out those that are ready right now, that it's really going to get their attention. It gives them substance. If we're always just talking about someone jumping them in the team line, and they may or may not even know what that means, if we're always talking about things that they don't really understand, it's not going to sway those people over. But they'll start to pay more attention to what it means if someone's jumping them and all that stuff, if we're able to connect with them first. And there'll only be a very small percentage on our list who that email I just sent really resonates with, and they have time to read it right now, both of those together. I think there's actually quite a few people that are feeling insecure with their job and small business because of the coronavirus stuff. Uh, so I'm going to speak to that in a second. But the first group is there's not going to be very many people, understand this, ever, that are going to read a long email. They're not written with the expectation that a whole bunch of people are going to read them. They're written for either the first group, which is those that just happen to be ready to spend the time right now and that it really speaks to. And now you've got them. Like whether they sign up or not, we don't know for sure, but you've got them. They're totally paying attention, and that's what you want. and they're going to start paying attention to the rest of the emails, and usually that person will enroll. The second group, though, is the larger group, and that's people that it really speaks to. Like they read a paragraph or two, but they're busy. Like they got other stuff going on, which is a lot of people, and they kind of just open up the email because they're looking for an excuse to procrastinate, but then they need to get back to what they're doing. I mean, how many times have you done that, right? An email pops up, you happen to open it up, it's got you, but you don't really have the time, and you kind of back away from it, thinking you'll come back to it. You don't delete it. You may eventually delete it, but you don't delete it right away, thinking you'll come back to it, and then you never do. That's the majority of them. And a lot of times we're speaking to them with a longer email. And what it does is it has a subconscious communication to them saying, look, there's a lot of substance here. And it's when that happens, it's saying to them, there's a lot of substance here, and it's not just about like gimmicky stuff. It's not just marketing hype stuff. It's not just getting jumped in the team line and all this stuff, which can be very motivating once they feel there's substance. But they're seeing that there's substance, and they're also realizing they haven't really invested the time yet to fully judge it. So therefore, it's kind of earmarked in their mind. And you want to have a growing number of people in your list that we're doing that with. So the longer emails give us an opportunity to with this particular group I'm talking about now, to tell them there's substance here, which has a huge benefit to us long term as they see other emails from us and start to pay attention. And B, it's telling them, hey, don't judge this yet. Don't knock it, because clearly there's a lot going on here and there's more depth there for you to learn. And if they only read half the email or a couple paragraphs and left it, in their mind, they realize they've got more to look into, and most of them will be looking forward to doing that. So this is what you want, and this is what a lot of you, like you're not realizing when I say build a relationship with the list, these are the kinds of things that we're talking about. And that's what we're doing right now. We're teaching you by sending the emails I give you. We're able to cut the hard part out, which is writing those emails and knowing what to say and all of that. And now I'm focusing you in on learning the strategy. You still need to know when to send what. Like, for example, on the document, in fact, let's just go to the next post where I said Monday's first email for pre-enrollees is uploaded to the document. So if we go to that document, it's near the bottom of the page. It's not at the very bottom, but near the bottom. And I know this is going to get long, and it's going to be a huge document. It's like all the emails, and it's like you can organize that however you want to. But just keep in mind, like, if this seems like heavy to you, like try to like compare it like to what? We're talking about building a residual income. You're getting to send every email that I send, and you're learning when to send what in what circumstances. Like, of course, that's going to be a lot of emails. You didn't have to write them. You don't have to create all the presentations that they refer to. Like, keep things in perspective. Like, when you think about what's easy, what's hard, like what's overwhelming and what's not, like sometimes it's just you have to expand yourself in order to be able to take on more and have that not be a scary thought. Like, it doesn't take more time. It's like what you do with your time. So I just want to caution you, like, if you think that this is hard or whatever, you're totally forgetting what we're doing. We're building a residual income. We're total freedom for the rest of your life that changes the lives of everybody close around you. Like, we're talking about some serious, big, positive changes that happen in your life that change everything about who you are, because you'll have opportunities to pursue things that you want to pursue. Like, keep it all in perspective. Like, this is easy. You're not having to write the emails. You're not having to create the presentations. But yes, this document will be massive, because I'm giving you all the emails I send for every circumstance, and I'm teaching you when to send what. You can easily learn it. Like, for example, today I titled it Monday, send this Monday. Like, it's not that hard. You send this on Monday, and over time you start to figure out why we send this on Monday. And then when next Monday comes, you'll send something different, and you'll start to see the similarities. And I'll keep giving it to you play by play, but I am wanting you to learn like the subtleties behind what's going on so you can eventually become a leader. Okay, so this is that long email I was talking about. Let's see, where's it? Yeah, where's it start? It starts right here. It's not too bad, but it's pretty long. And so I'm actually going to create another video that I'm going to post, or sorry, another email that I'm going to post today that I encourage you to send out as well in addition to this. And here's where it gets, I don't want to say confusing, because it's not, but where you have to pay attention because, and this is the strategy side of it. Like, I'm giving you the emails, I'm giving you exactly what to send out, I'm giving you exactly what I send, but like, you have to kind of pay attention or you'll be confused. So for example, and I'll keep reinforcing this stuff. So for example, I'm going to post 2 more emails that could be sent today. One you will choose, and they're not on there at the time I'm recording this at 5:40 a.m. Pacific time, but I'll put them there in a couple hours. I want you to send out the one I already posted as soon as you can, get it out early, and then within a couple hours later send the other one. Because that gets their attention. There's a strategy behind that. We've talked about that a little bit before. We'll keep talking about it, but you don't have to understand it all yet. Just do it. So that's the next email you'll send out today. So you'll send 2. One of them, you'll choose one of them. We're talking about the second email you'll send today. You'll choose one of them if you have people with pre-enrollees, or sorry, you have pre-enrollees with people who are going to jump them already, and you'll choose the other one if you don't. And it will be pretty, I'll say in the document which to send. So again, today's Monday. You're going to send the Monday email that I gave you at the bottom of this document. It's called email PEM1, which just stands for Pre-Enrollee Monday. 1 is in the first one for Monday that I'm giving you. And so you send that now as soon as you can, and then a couple hours later you're going to send one more. I'm giving you 2. You're going to choose one of them. You're going to send one of them if you have pre-enrollees who have someone jumping them, whether you sign them up underneath them or not. And you'll send the other one that I'm going to give you if you don't have pre-enrollees that are going to jump them. Okay? And I'll reiterate that in this document. And again, if you're ever lost or confused on any of this stuff, it probably means we're a little bit ahead of where you need to be. And that leads me to another thing, and that is you don't need to like follow everything that I post and listen to everything I do. You do what you can, and you fall back on, because I'm like forging ahead for people who are ready. Like all the videos I post, all the posts that I'm making are for people that are ready to eat it up, which benefits all of you, because the people that are ready to eat things up that I'm giving, like all these posts, all these videos, all these steps, that's preparing them to build really fast. Because there's, let's call them like the up and coming top producers in our organization. And even if you're not in a position yet because of your schedule or whatever to become a top producer immediately or like within the next few months, it doesn't mean you're not going to do phenomenally well here, because you're going to benefit from the spillover of the top producers, or you're going to benefit from the top producer who ended up in one of your legs, or that eventually end up in both of your legs. So like really keep things in perspective. And if you're in a position where you can't like follow every post that I make and every video that I make, it's totally understandable. If you can't be on every webinar that I make, totally understandable. Fall back on doing the bare minimum during the tough times in your life, whatever that is. If the bare minimum is just auto order and like plugging away, it's sending an email to your MLGS leads, which should be really easy to do. Like once you get that set up, it takes you like literally 1 minute a day. If that's your bare minimum, that's what you do. And all the while, your team's growing and developing, and we're growing and developing and improving and organizing, and then you jump back in. And just by doing those few things, you might have landed a top producer in your second leg, maybe not yet, and then you ramp up with our other methods at that point. Like just if you can't follow everything I'm doing, I totally expect most of you can't follow everything that I'm posting and saying right now. We're in the early stages of developing all of this. I'm speaking to the top producers and the up and coming top producers. Or those who might be like challenged in some areas that are new, but they're going to become top producers and they want to eat up everything that I post. I don't expect all of you to be able to follow everything. You don't need to. Fall back on the lowest denominator of thing that you can do, which, I just mentioned, extremely simple. Auto order and doing the MLGS leads. If that's all you can do right now, then tune out, do that, and when you're ready to step back in, we'll plug you back in. No big deal. And then those that want to become top producers and make the insane money, and you're in a position to do that. And guys, I don't even like to throw out numbers, but when I talk about top producers, like you guys don't realize, like some of you, how the network marketing model works. Like it rewards people who stick with it. It's the exponential effect. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today on the webinar that I have, where we're talking about getting binary qualified, about like how when you're starting out, it's like really slow and tough. And then I'm going to be teaching, we're teaching you through this process of sending emails, how to get to the point where you can trigger your first enrollments, like in your second leg, and start to get that momentum going. That's what we're leading you up to with these emails that you're sending out. You're just laying the foundation for that relationship to be built with your email list. And then there's something called Firestarter, which I've started to add on this document, but I don't want you to send anything out under Firestarter yet, but there's emails I'm going to give you, and there's a strategy that I call Firestarter emails, where once you have your team line of pre-enrollees is big enough, which a lot of you just aren't there yet. You wouldn't be there yet if all you're doing is MLGS leads mostly. Or if you started buying leads inside the Hempworx MDC site before I tested them, and maybe you even have a lot of pre-enrollees, but you weren't sending them the right emails and stuff. You guys just wouldn't be there yet, most of you, at a leg big enough to trigger yet. I'm getting you there. This is a process, and it doesn't take that long. It might feel like a long time while we're doing it, but it's not when you're remembering what residual income that is massive. For most of you, $1,500 to $3,000 a month residual income is life-changing. And we're talking about much more than that for those that follow through. This is not going to take that much time for those that follow through, but maybe longer than you think that it should, but put it in perspective. Sometimes we have to just remember what we're doing here. This is a really big deal, and it takes, of course, going to take a little time to move through this process of me showing you everything play by play to duplicate this incredibly high-paying skill that I have. But I'm literally giving you everything play by play, and I'm telling you exactly where we're at. And right now, where we're at is we've gotten a lot of you generating pre-enrollees. That was a big feat, even though it's with the lowest common denominator leads. In fact, I made a post on that as well that I think I should address here. It says, please read this. This is big, so this is important, so stick with me here. I go, remember, the 1 cent leads are the absolute slowest, most mindless, lowest common denominator way that you could build the business. Meaning it doesn't take anything on your end to really do. That's why it's so exciting. I've gotten 28 pre-enrollees and 3 enrollments, one of them at executive, another one at executive, and another one came in at 0 BV that when I have time I'll reach out to and follow up with, but I was only able to send 1 email at this point. But that's really good, and it's $30 a month, aside from the $30 setup fee. It's insanely good. But many of you have a lot of things to still learn about what emails to send and when to send them, and other nuances about how to trigger signups in a leg, like understanding you have to generate enough pre-enrollees to demonstrate they're in an exciting place. You have to have enough pre-enrollees. These are all things we're going to get into. I'm moving through a priority list with you guys, moving play by play. The first one is to get you guys all up and running with a level 1, silly, simple process of generating pre-enrollees that others could plug into, that nobody could say it costs too much and have us take them seriously, that no one could say I don't have time and have us be able to take them seriously. Anybody can do it. And that's a big accomplishment that we found that this early. I thought it would take us much more testing before we even found our lowest common denominator method of generating pre-enrollees. I was very excited that we found it very early, and so I switched all of our focus onto it. And so that's what we, started just getting everyone set up with. And even if you're at level 2 or level 3, you had to get set up with that, because a lot of the people that you have coming in are going to come in at level 1 and they're going to get plugged in with that. And so you need to experience it and be doing it. And I'm doing it too. I could be doing much more high leveraging things than sending leads to these 1 cent leads. I got 214 enrollments my first month. I got 50 enrollments last month. The 3 enrollments that I got from this, fine, but I could be doing much higher leveraging things. I do this because in the end, this is higher leveraging because I'm leading the way, and you should be too. Even if you're level 2 or level 3 and you're going to be doing higher leveraging methods with me, you, just like me, you want to be doing these leads and continue doing them. You want to lead the way because a lot of your people are going to come in and duplicate this. And the combined efforts of having a lot of people be able to plug in and on day 1 start generating pre-enrollees, or if it might take them a few days or whatever, or some of you, I know it took 2 weeks before you got your first pre-enrollee. I don't know why. I need to look more closely at what you guys are sending out that are having some issues. But most people have been able to generate pre-enrollees very quickly. And collectively, it's huge. It's a big success. That's what we had to do first. But now we're just moving into, and we started it last week with that big webinar I did, we're moving now into showing how to convert those into signups. It's a process, guys. I think we'll be done with that for the most part next week, where I feel comfortable that you guys have enough emails and understand the strategy well enough that I can just keep adding emails to that document, and you'll know what to do to convert your pre-enrollees into directors and executives. And then after that, after next week, I'm going to be looking at your questions that are coming at me and what's going on to assess that. But I feel like next week we should be at the point where I can then move on to us going to level 2 and level 3 strategies. And then we would encourage those of you in level 1 to be doing more of the YouTube strategies and help you a little bit more with that, even though we've pretty much given you everything you need for that, but I'd give you more support on that so you can start generating more leads that way. Level 1 will also be going to Aaron Parker's group, Aaron Rashkin's group, and Jason Cardamone's group, and learning what strategies they suggest. You're going to be doing all kinds of things to be able to, Facebook posts that they encourage you to make, and they give you text and stuff that you can post. And some of you might want to do more market. Those that don't want to might want to start playing around with other lead sources. But if you're in level 1, they should be really inexpensive lead sources, maybe some solo ads. These kinds of things will keep it really simple. But mostly I'm going to want to switch then to level 2 and level 3 to ramp everything up. The online guerrilla marketing strategies of level 2, and then we'll move into the level 3 stuff, which, what I love, that's where you can just do crazy growth. And when level 2 and level 3 kick in, people at level 1 are going to benefit tremendously because you're going to get the spillover, either the spillover in your main leg or a lot, which can help you get to the 100 auto orders, right? And then once you have 100 auto orders, even if they came from your upline, your level 2 and level 3 upline, you then get moved into 10 different uplines marketing rotators. So that starts spilling over into your second leg. So even if you're in level 1, as long as you're meeting your auto order commitment, if you get off of that, guys, if you get off your auto order, don't expect to get added into the rotator later just because you jump back in. Like, you need to be meeting your commitments the whole time. And if you are, when level 2 and level 3 take off, when we move into those more aggressive strategies, that's going to benefit level 1 too as well. And then you've got money to work with there to upgrade to level 2 and become a top producer if you want to. So, I mean, I've set this thing up where I'm prioritizing in a certain sequence. And the first step, which I've just made clear, was to set people up with a really silly, simple way to generate pre-enroll leads, and we've done that. Where no one could say it's too expensive, it takes too much time, it's too hard. We've got everyone that can plug into that immediately on day 1. And we should, even if you're in level 2 and level 3, like I'm a level 3 person, right? We should still be maintaining that because it's so easy to do. So we're leading the way, setting the example, because a lot of people are going to enter that way. But we're going to then move on. The level 2 and level 3 people are going to move on to more aggressive building strategies, and that's going to benefit level 1 as well. Some of you are going to see what's going on and want to upgrade to level 2 at that point, or you can just continue to max out what you can do with level 1. So anyway, we're right where we should be. You can't, a person in my situation where this is just so easy for me to do personally, like it's impossible for me to snap my fingers and have you guys just on day 1 have the skill that I have. Even if I'm getting you the emails and everything, you have to know when to send what, like we're teaching you now. Like, it's just impossible, but we're actually moving very, very fast. And I hope you're keeping things in perspective and remembering what, the magnitude of what you're creating here, and realize that if you were to look back, like a year from now, where you would be if you continue at this pace, if you're doing what we're asking you to do, which right now, if you're just sending leads and getting pre-enroll leads, you're on track, and you're now sending the emails out that I'm giving you in the document to your pre-enrollees. Of course, you wouldn't have a bunch of signups yet. Like, we're getting there. And again, I think that we'll be wrapped up with that segment by next week, where you have everything you need from me. I'll keep giving you emails, but you'll know what to do with them to convert pre-enrollees into directors and executives on auto order. And that's when we ramp up again, level 2 and level 3 online marketing strategies for massive pre-enrollees. If we got a bunch of pre-enrollees now, it would just be wasting money. I mean, it's cool. A lot of you have ran with the ball at that, but a lot of you are seeing you're able to get a lot of pre-enrollees, but you're not converting them because you don't know how to do what I'm teaching you right now, which again I think will be wrapped up with next week. All right. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to go over. I mean, there's so many things I could say and so many things that I want to share, but it really is simple as long as we move through a process and a sequence. And right now, that is be sending emails from the MLGS platform. If you know how to send emails from, and I wrote this as well in another post, if you already know how to load the MLGS leads into another platform to email more, cool. But if you don't worry about it. I'm sending almost all of mine through the MLGS platform. I mean, I have, except for some that I tested weeks ago. If you know how to do it, great. If you don't know, just use the MLGS platform, the 1 cent lead platform, to email your leads for now. As long as you're doing that, you're on auto order, you're following what you can where you can, then that's all you need to be doing. If you can do more, then it's things like going through, obviously, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 on this page here. I mean, you already got step 1, you got the leads, you've started emailing the leads, and we're now emailing your pre-enrollees. Step 3, system setup. Most of you have gotten through that and you've set up your system. A lot of you could start looking into going pro. That's level 3, but it's a little early for you to actually do it, but you could learn about it. And then when you're ready, you can jump into that. And when you grow like I do, when I'm really building, uh, how I got the 214 enrollments my first month, that's the method that I'm using there to build this huge list and to build a relationship with the list. Yeah, it's a really powerful strategy. So you can learn about that. But other than that, keep it simple. Understand we're moving through a process. And I think by sometime next week, I'll feel comfortable that you guys know how to convert pre-enrollees into directors and executives. And then we move to ramping up pre-enrollees. It makes sense to go in that order. In any moment now, I know I've been saying this a while, but like these other priorities have been the biggest priorities. Like teaching you and showing you how to send my emails, to convert pre-enrollees into directors and executives on auto order who are duplicating is the priority. But I've talked about a lot, and we're coming to the point where we're going to be plugging a lot of you into a marketing rotator who already have 100 people on auto order underneath you in a leg. And if you don't have 100 people on auto order underneath you in a leg yet, just realize when we turn on the level 2 and level 3 strategies, and it just starts slamming massive pre-enrollees in, and everyone knows how to send the emails that I'm giving them, and then I start doing webinars on top of that to close people. uh, you're going to get to 100 auto orders pretty quick, and that's when, as long as you were on auto order all this time and you upheld your commitments, you'll get added into 10 different uplines marketing rotators. So I've set this up where if you're in a tough spot financially and with your time right now, and you're at level 1 or whatever, you still benefit massively when we crank this thing on. Okay, so anyway, just want to give you that update. And at 1 o'clock Pacific time today, Monday, which is 4 Eastern, I'm going to do a webinar on becoming binary qualified. I want to focus your guys' attention on that. If you're not binary qualified already, there's nothing complicated about it. You probably kind of know what it is, but we'll connect on it, and I'll make it really clear what that's all about and why it's so important. And I'll also talk about how, when that really leads us into the discussion of helping you see how fast things start to go once you have a small team of people who are duplicating. Again, they need to be duplicating, converting pre-enrollees into enrollments, which is what we're still working through. Once you just have a handful of people doing that, which you would once you're binary qualified, then things start to really take off. Then you're growing, then you're getting 3 times the pre-enrollees than you would on your own, for example, or 5 times if you have 5 people, the pre-enrollees you would on your own. It starts to really magnify, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. They've never had success in this model. It takes a lot to get the early momentum, and then it starts to really unfold. So we're laying the groundwork just to basically build this huge bonfire, and then we kind of just light the match, and that's what it will seem like when it's ready. And when it's ready is when you guys know how to convert pre-enrollees into enrollments, which I think will be as soon as next week. And then again, you might not have enough pre-enrollees in your line to trigger it, but you'll understand it. And you'll understand, about how many pre-enrollees you need and what you need to do to get them, and like it'll all be clear, and then we'll ramp up the pre-enrollees. And like I said, even if you're at level 1 and you're growing a little slower with the slower strategies, you're going to benefit tremendously from the growth that takes place from level 2 and level 3 when we do that. All right, I'll see you guys soon.